The big news of the day, well, twofold, is that two of the legendary quarterbacks, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, both out. Roethlisberger out for the season. And curious timing as the Steelers had traded their third quarterback, Josh Dobbs, just last week to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mason Rudolph, the Oklahoma State alum, the former third-round pick, is now the starter. And Ben Roethlisberger's out for the year, needs elbow surgery. That's on his throwing elbow. Then you have Drew Brees, and Brees' injury is, we don't know how bad it is. It is surgery on his thumb, and it should be pointed out that that was because I believe he hit Aaron Donald on the helmet with his hand. So it was hand to hand? Yeah, hand to hand. So he hit Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's a big, strong man, and Drew Brees is hurt. And so this is not as much a wear and tear injury. But the Big Ben injury, the Drew Brees injury, heck, even Phillip Rivers, who threw just an awful interception late yesterday in a very winnable game for the Chargers, it points out a couple of things. First, I would encourage people not to tell me that Tom Brady playing into his 40s is going to become the norm. Tom Brady playing in his 40s, as well as he's playing in his 40s, only points out that he's an outlier. It's a lot like when people expect you to come back from an ACL injury and be like Adrian Peterson. There's only one Adrian Peterson. That's why he's a first ballot Hall of Famer as a running back. That's why Tom Brady's a first ballot Hall of Famer and in the conversation, to some people's estimate, the greatest of all time. A lot of people's estimation, greatest of all time. Right? So before we sit there and go, well, Brady can do it. Secondly, if we're being honest about Brady, he did fade down the stretch. And because Brady has been willing to take less money, he has been surrounded by better players. And they get rid of the ball exceptionally quickly. He's a different player than a Ben Roethlisberger. But as quarterbacks' careers continue to extend, and look, another quarterback from that exact same draft, Eli Manning, not named the starter for week 3. He wasn't named the backup, but Pat Sherman did something really weird today, in which he came out and he said, we are not naming a starter. Like, okay, well, we've penciled in Eli Manning for the last decade. We're just not going to pencil in, with the exception of that one time, which ultimately caused everybody to get fired. Seems to let you believe he knows where this thing is going. But look, there's a couple of different things with older quarterbacks. First thing is there's a continuum, right? And in the continuum, there's arm talent and athleticism, and on the other side, there's football IQ. And with every game, you're going to gain football IQ. That's just going to grow the experience. You've seen everything. You've done everything. You know how everything works. All that is, in fact, good. Just grows. But as you cross over 30 years old, 32 years old, 33 years old, 34, 35, suddenly your arm talent, your overall athletic talent is going to wane. That's very normal. And so I would tell you that, whether it was Phillip Rivers thinking he had the arm of 28-year-old Phillip Rivers, or whether it's Drew Brees thinking he could get rid of it quicker than Aaron Donald could get his hand up, or it's Ben Roethlisberger breaking down, these quarterbacks who have, like, Big Ben's always been dinged up, but for the most part, he plays 14, 15 a year, right? Eli Manning's literally never missed a start. Phillip Rivers tore his ACL, never missed a start. That's crazy. These guys remind me of my wife's favorite SUV. So, my wife never gave in to the minivan thing, although I will say this. Minivans, incredibly handy, right? They just are. I mean, they got everything. They got pockets for everything. They got a pocket you can put a kid in. It's just amazing. You just stuff a kid in there, and then you get to where you go, where's that? Where's Jimmy? Oh, he's in that little pocket. Oh, there's Jimmy. What'd you doing there, Jimmy? Right? But she would never do the minivan thing. So we started before kids with a Highlander. Right? Then she worked her way to, I think, a Lexus SUV. But then after we had twins, we had the third one. We felt like we had to get the traditional 3 rows one, right? 3 rows deep. And she got this in the big Infinity one, right? And it was sweet, right? Big rims. I mean, it actually looked cool and was cool. And, look, I did research and reading, and I was like, this thing ain't going to break down. And you know what? We had that thing from 2011 until 2017, and we never had one issue with it. Not one. But the second the extended warranty was I think it was about to wear off or whatever, like we had one issue and then the drivetrain went and everything got replaced for free, like cost us nothing. But we were like, okay, we're good. Because even the best made cars, eventually you put enough miles on them and something's going to break. And once you get something that breaks on an older vehicle, it becomes, one, more expensive to fix because sometimes the parts aren't made as readily. And two, you fix one thing and something else breaks. You fix that and something else breaks. You fix that and something else breaks. Like, we don't just get new cars because you love the new car smell. You don't just get why else would you? The idea you would just buy a new car because the new car smell, like, it's a depreciating asset. The second you drive it off the lot, it just plummets in value. And then eventually it stabilizes at like 6 or 7 years. Then like basically, unless you have 250,000 miles, everything's worth between $5,000 and $15,000, right? Even the best made cars break down, even the best made quarterbacks who throw from the pocket, a position where it's the safest place to be on a football field is in the pocket. Right? It's like, do you remember the movie Legend of Bagger Vance? And Will Smith said, I think the safest place to be is standing right in the fairway, right in front of you, because you never hit the ball straight. That's how I feel about the pocket. But this is the issue with the older quarterbacks get. And I would get Drew Brees is bad luck. Right? But what's to say that the throwing thumb doesn't not tear if he's 25 years old? Maybe it's just a sprain. Maybe he ices it, puts stim on it, and he's back next week. But the fact is, we all know this as we get older. Injuries are harder to come back from, takes you longer to come back from, and you're more likely to injure yourself, even rehabbing or coming back, the older you get. That's just how your body works. And so while we're in this era of this group of older quarterbacks, thinking these guys can play forever, this is a stark reminder of it's not true. Right? Deshaun Watson's in his early 20s. He's torn his ACL twice. He had to take a bus to Jacksonville last year because he had a collapsed lung. Right? And look, he's back running around like he's good as new. Now, when you're in your 30s and the exact same thing happens, you're out for a couple of months. And by the time you come back, something else breaks down. So I know we're in this weird place where quarterbacks feel like they can play forever. But Adam Vinatieri, has he retired yet? Feels like he's going to retire. Like a guy who never misses anything suddenly can't make a kick. Whether it's your skill set just diminishing, you may have that football IQ, but your body won't let you do it. Or your body breaking down in weird ways. Whatever it is, you get to your mid to late 30s and you're not the same. Hey man, I never got hurt playing basketball. I might play thousands and thousands and thousands of games. Pickup games, practices, literally never hurt. Had a little sciatic thing my sophomore year in high school. That's it. I missed 2 practices in my entire life. They were both where I showed up at practice, but I had the flu. And my coach sent me home my senior year in college. That's it. I got to 35, and I'm playing basketball, and all of a sudden I pulled my hamstring. And then, it's like a once every 6 month thing. And look, I've gone about, doing yoga, being more flexible, being lighter, so maybe that wouldn't happen as much. But it's still in the back of my mind because that's what happens when you get older. And so while we can celebrate Tom Brady's longevity, and it's amazing, we also have to realize he lost some arm strength. He lost some pop. He's surrounded with a perfect offense where he gets rid of the football, and now they've put even more personnel, and they've taken the burden off him last year by running the football. Even then, it was 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in the playoffs last year. And he's still an outlier. The norm is Ben Roethlisberger. The norm is Eli Manning. The norm is Drew Brees. Hi, I'm Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports Radio, and you need to subscribe to the Fox Sports Radio YouTube channel where you can hear and see me. Why not? Plus everybody else who's awesome here in Fox Sports Radio.